Guys, it's Charlie, and today I'm going to be doing a response video to my video titled My Unhealthy Relationship. So if you haven't watched that video already, I would recommend you go there first, because watching this video before you watch that video kind of kills it. So please go to that video first and then come back to this one. So sorry to one of my subscribers who told me to do this video indoors. I'm kind of an outdoorsy person, and the mood kind of feels really nice outside in the open air. I hope that the wind doesn't work against me this time, because it tends to do that in my videos. But this video is a response video to myself and to you guys, so that you guys have a better understanding of what my story was really about. So I made this video and or that video, and I wasn't necessarily trying to tell my story of an actual relationship. I was actually kind of surprised that a lot of people really were just like, I think most everyone watched the whole video, and to get to the end and not realize that the story wasn't an actual story about my real relationship or past relationships. It's more of a story about a girl who is in a relationship with a guy who is not really a real guy in the end. It's really what you would say religion. I'm really making this video so that you guys can know that I was never in any unhealthy, abusive relationship, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, any kind of like relationship with a guy that was abusive or unhealthy in that kind of way. So no, it's not a true story of a past relationship. But if there is anyone out there that has been in a situation like that, I think everyone would say, just as everyone did say in my comment section, that it was good that I got out of it. And that is pretty much my whole point of my story, is that if this had been a true, actual, factual relationship with a human being, any sane person would tell me to get out of the relationship and to leave the relationship. This story I wrote on my blog, and it was pretty much me trying to get out into words how I feel or how I felt about religion and the religion that I grew up with. And I'm not really pointing at people saying you're wrong for being Christian. I can't really get into exact words of how I feel exactly, but I think I've met a lot of Christians who really do exhibit a Christ-like manner or way of living, and I really respect that. No, don't get the idea that any relationship of my past has been that, because it has not. So now this is my time to get into what I'm talking about in my story. So first off, I'm going to get into what my beliefs are about God. So let me start. Those are pretty much my basic beliefs about God, and that is exactly what I believe God to be at the core of everything. Or my idea of anything else outside of those words would have to align with those words. Okay, so while I believe that all of these things are God, God is God, God is life, God is love, God is eternal, God is freedom, God is unconditional. So while I believe that these things exist, I also do believe that they cannot exist without or be experienced without having the experience of the opposite. For example, the story of Adam and Eve, For me, I imagine Adam and Eve in a paradise, but a paradise not knowing that they're in paradise. So what is the beauty of being in paradise and not having the understanding that you're in paradise? For example, if all there is life and there is no such thing as death, how can you really know life? How can you experience life if you don't know the opposite of life? And it's kind of, you know, for some people it might be difficult to understand, but to me it makes complete sense. You cannot experience that which is unless you experience or have an understanding of that which it is not. And so to me it makes complete sense that I do understand why people would have the idea of a hell or the idea of a Satan, because how can God exist as the giver of life and as the protector if there is nothing to protect? So I understand the idea or the concept of there being an opposing force. You know, people say, well, God doesn't send you to hell. God doesn't kill you. You send yourself to hell. What my idea of most people's idea of free will is, which is not my idea of free will. My belief that what free will is free. And so while people think that because you get to choose one or the other, it is free, does not make it free to me. So for example, Pete gave Laura the idea that she had free will because she could either choose sex or death, and you have one or the other. But to me, that is not free will. To me, free will is him saying, you can have you can have sex with me and live, or you can leave and live. To me, that is free will, and that is actually the free will that we implement in our relationships. If you're in a marriage relationship, for example, the husband or the wife may want sex, and he says, you know, tonight I want to have sex. And if the wife says, I do not want to have sex tonight, he says, okay, that's fine. So that is free will. He is not going to kill her because she does not want to have sex with him. He's given her the free will because he's saying, you know, I want sex. You can choose to have sex with me today, or you can choose not to. But either way, it is a free choice. Free choice is not what we would say a man coming up to a woman. Even let's say a marriage situation, if a husband told his wife, I want sex tonight, and you can choose to have sex with me, or I will kill you, or even let's just say beat you. It doesn't even have to be death. So you can either have sex with me and be completely fine, or you can choose for me to beat you. That is not free will. She may choose not to have sex with him, but she is going to be beaten. She may choose to have sex with him and not be beaten, but it is not really free choice because she just didn't want to get beaten that night. And that is pretty much how I would explain the current situation with most people's idea of God and free will. So that is pretty much the basis of the hell heaven aspect that I disagree with, because I believe that if God is omniscient, which means all-knowing, therefore God created the result or the consequence, because God created knowing all that would be, therefore creating the consequences. And that is the same as the husband who creates the consequence for the wife. You can have sex with me and be free, or you can not have sex with me and be beaten. And that is not true free will. of free will truly being free, and that was what I kind of came in conflict with as I started thinking about my beliefs and about God. And this is kind of the idea that I implement or try and keep in mind as I go through my relationships with human beings. So with the idea that my belief is God God does not need anything to be. God just is. God is unconditional. There is no need, there are no conditions for God to exist. God is. There is no this, or there is no you must do this or this for God to be. God is. God doesn't need anything to be. Love. God is love. Love is unconditional. There are no conditions for love to exist. There are no, you must do this for me and I will love you. There is no condition for love. There is no until death do us part, because there is no condition for love to not exist. Love is. God is life. God is life. God is the complete essence of life. God is beingness. God is life. God is love. Life is love. God is free. There is no price for God. God is. There is no money you have to pay to get to God. There is nothing that you have to do physically to get to God. There is no anything for God to exist. God is free. God is freedom. Eternal. God is eternal. God is forever. There is no beginning or end to God. There is no beginning or end to love. There is no beginning or end to eternity. There is no beginning or end to freedom. There is no beginning or end to life. And that's pretty much my idea of God. That is my belief about God. And any other thing that has to come up in my life where I have to examine if I believe that to be God, I would analyze against all 6 aspects of what I believe God to be. For example, some may say God is peace, and I actually will agree with that. Because peace is love, peace is life, peace is eternal. Those are all that I believe to be peace. Therefore, peace is God. Hello? So that is pretty much my idea of God. God, the pure essence of God is all that is. That's all that there is. There is no room for pain. And my idea of life after death is not that some people will go through a torturous, tremendous amount of pain forever, all through eternity, because out of love, God allowed them to choose heaven or hell, life or death, me or evil, devil. Something got in my eye.